India, in a way, has drawn that red line. It drew that red line last August when it cancelled off the foreign secretary level talks. And now it is stuck to that red line and gone ahead and said that there will be no third party when it comes to a dialogue between India and Pakistan. It has to stick to a bilateral framework. It's a very smartly worded statement. Remember, nowhere in the statement has Vikas Swarup mentioned that the talks have been called off. But the Press Trust of India, the news agency, has also now said that the talks have been called off. So, is there still a room for maneuvering? I'm joined here by Javed Ansari in the studio, Executive Editor, Strategic Affairs Editor Gaurav Sawant on the phone line, and Mr. Tariq Azim of the PMLN. I would request you, Mr. Azim, to stay with us just to get a technical clarity from Gaurav. Gaurav, that's a very, very smartly worded statement from the Ministry of External Affairs. Does that still keep a minimum window open for these talks, or should we just say that the talks are completely off now?
The ball in Pakistan's court. India has very clearly said there are two stakeholders, India and Pakistan. The talk is about terror. That was cited at UFA. So which is the force that is trying to derail this? That is what government. As far as government of India is concerned, India is open for talks on terror and no talk with Hurriyat. If Pakistan is okay with it, talks will move forward.
Are these talks on the 24th now happening or not, Gaurav?
Well, the ball is in Pakistan's court. We have to wait for Pakistan's response. You can never say that there are talks till Pakistan says we will not come. India is saying you're most welcome to come to talk. That was decided at UFA. It's as simple as that. If there are people who are reading between the lines, well, as the government of India is concerned, my sources are saying India is open to talks on terror and no talks with Hurriyat.
Okay, Gaurav, stay with us. Clearly, we are putting out that clarification. Remember, it's the Press Trust of India. It's a very credible news agency that is saying that the talks have been called off. There's no direct reference yet as far as that smartly worded MEA statement goes. Mr. Tariq Azim, they haven't said the words that the talk has been postponed or rescheduled, but Vikas Swarup has said that unilateral imposition of new conditions and distortion of the agreed UFA agenda cannot be the basis for going forward. How hopeful are you now that the talks are on?
We still want to go ahead with the talks, which are important for peace in the region. And we thought India was serious as well. But there was no such conditions attached at UFA meeting. When we talk about terrorism, and as India always says, that whatever is happening in Kashmir is Pakistan related. And if it's Pakistan related, and if the terrorism is happening there, how can you take away Kashmir issue and still discuss terrorism if the terrorism happening in Kashmir? So this does not make sense. I mean, terrorism and Kashmir, the two issues are joined together.
Sir, you are saying there were no conditions laid down in UFA. I will get in Javed on this. Please stay with us. Javed, was there any iota of doubt? We saw that UFA statement that India had perhaps let open the room for other issues also to be discussed and Kashmir issue, or was India very clear in UFA that this meet would be about terror?
As far as India was concerned, from day one, they've been very clear that this meeting was about terror emanating from across the border, and that is what was agreed upon, and that is what was agreed upon in UFA, and that is what was read out in the joint statement by the foreign secretaries of both the countries.
Okay, Mr. Tariq Azim, now really, you understand the world of politics and diplomacy very well. If we are looking at talks to be held on Sunday evening for Sartaj Aziz to come and talks to be held on Monday, it's Friday evening, almost 8 o'clock. What really are the chances now that the talks will happen at all?
Well, if India insists that there is not going to be any meeting, and they're going to put
India has
conditions
insisted. India has made it very clear. You can now take it for completely, categorically that India is sticking to the stand.
I haven't talked to Sartaj Aziz Sahib, so I'm just giving you my point of view. Pakistan will not accept any such dictation from India. This is as clear as that. We will not take part in conditions where conditions are put on by India. It shows that India is not sincere in these talks. They just want to put hurdles, and the sincerity is, these tactics are meant to sabotage talks. They want to show the world, they want to have talks and then still insist.
Mr. Azim, so you are saying that Pakistan will not accept any dictations from India. India in this latest statement has made it very clear that any talks between India and Pakistan has to be bilateral, not a third party. They say that India has always held the position there are only two stakeholders in our relationship, not three. So if this NSA talk is not happening, do you think India and Pakistan have now reached a perpetual impasse for all future talks?
This is being orchestrated by India, and it's not helping matters. I believe that talking to the leaders of Kashmiri leaders is in the interest of India as well as in Pakistan to understand their point of view. I cannot understand.
Sir, I understand your point of view, but all I'm saying is India has made it very clear this is the new red line. They have absolutely stated it in black and white that there are only two stakeholders in our relationship, not three. Going forward, does this mean it is going to be a perpetual impasse and India and Pakistan perhaps can only meet on a third country, on a third venue where there is no shadow of the Hurriyat?
Well, we have always insisted that Kashmir will always be on the agenda. If you see the statement made by Sartaj Aziz after UFA meeting, he made it abundantly clear that all issues, including Kashmir, it's always been Pakistan's case. Discussing issues, which does not involve Kashmir, does not really make sense.
Okay. So, Javed, what is the sense that you are getting now from the Indian position? Is this because Mr. Modi now has a complete different approach to Jammu and Kashmir? A, he does not, politically and domestically, he does not now only talk of Kashmir. He always links it up to Jammu. He talks of Jammu development. And second, Hurriyat not acceptable anymore, even if they had had several rounds of dialogue with the own India leaders, including Vajpayee and Advani.
Look, in hindsight, we can say these talks were doomed from the word go. The distinct impression that I got was that neither side was actually willing, but it was being goaded, it was being nudged from the back by somebody else. They were trying their level best to ensure that this doesn't take place, to jeopardize these talks. And reading in between the lines, Mr. Vikas Swarup has stopped short of saying it in so many words, but reading between the lines, it's evident that these talks are now off.
Okay. I'm also joined, in fact, by Kasmar Klasra, our correspondent in Islamabad, and Shuja ul Haq in Srinagar. Before I go back to Mr. Tariq Azim for a final comment, Kasmar, what are you hearing from the government? Are they looking at it as no option available anymore, or are they still considering they will still come back perhaps with a statement again saying that if India were to reconsider, we will still perhaps come back on Sunday? Kasper, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Please. What is your question, please?
No, we are trying to check the, after this latest statement from MEA, have you managed to have a word with Sartaj Aziz or anyone in the foreign ministry? Is there still any hope left? Are they saying that they will once again roll the ball back in India's court, or are they looking at it as a final impasse and a deadlock that now cannot be broken?
In Pakistan, none of three powerful sides has reacted following PTI's statement that India has called off talks. I'm talking about Pakistan Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Security Establishment, ISPR and Ayman, and the media cell of Pakistani Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif. So, following the statements of PTI that India has called off talks, I have talked to some of my sources. They said India has not officially conveyed to Pakistan about cancellation of the talks. So it means we are still working out with Indian leadership to chalk out plan, and from our side, from Pakistan side, the talks are still on.